This is probably a good time to make this video because
it's what I'm doing right now.
Stop it. Get some help.
Alright, now that I've successfully filtered out 95% of people who will click on this video, I can be sure you probably care. So I personally need a chop reset because me going through the semester, I don't necessarily play horribly the whole time, although sometimes I do. I start making these weird ways to set up before I play, like with my bottom lip or opening my mouth a certain way and like adjusting things at a certain angle and all this stuff. And I sort of lose that authentic, just natural approach, and that's what I'm trying to get back in this process. So I'm not trying to reset like my musical ideas or anything like that.
And everything like that.
It's just, it really is just like sort of the embouchure and the just approach to the instrument. You know, instead of going up to it and like having this specific physical thing that I'm trying to achieve, just allowing myself to be the musician and just sing through the instrument the most natural way that just comes to me. So I'm not going to sit here and suggest that your embouchure needs to look a certain way because that's a dead-end argument. I mean, I guess there's general rules that are nice, but you'll find great players with all sorts of weird setups. So that's not really the point. What matters is your approach what's natural to you, and are you making weird compensations that kind of don't help you out? But it's the beginning of the summer, so I have time, and now my new goal is bring it up to the face without changing anything. And it's not going to be great all the time, like that was, but just being able to, because that is your most natural embouchure, is just when you're sitting doing nothing, and then just singing through the mouthpiece. Aww. Aww. Try not to overthink anything, like, oh, my lips, should they be closed, should they be open, should they be this way, that way? I'm trying to literally not think about anything besides I'm just singing, and I bring it up to my face. And similar to a vocal siren where I would go, oh, I'm not changing my mouth around or any of this, it's just, oh, everything stays the same. Except the change kind of comes from down here as if you're singing. Maybe you can say it's your diaphragm. People like to disagree about how it's not physically the same as singing, but I find I get the best results when I think I'm singing, even if physically that's not exactly what's happening. So once I feel like I'm getting a natural sound on the mouthpiece where it's nothing more than just bring it up, and it's just kind of there, then maybe I'll start plugging it in and going between singing something, buzzing it, and playing it. Disclaimer, my mic might not pick up things correctly and I might hear a weird overtone, but just try and ignore it. And in general right now, during just trying to reset things properly, I don't really want to stray too far away from the chromatic scale and maybe some simple melodies. I want to take it relatively slow and not let all these weird bad habits creep in to do specific like intervals and whatnot. And it's generally a good sign for me if at least up to just G on top of the staff chromatically, it feels like nothing's really having to change to get there, because that kind of tells me like the C will also be there as long as I just keep the approach just I have a teacher who will tell me to kind of treat this like a clarinet mouthpiece, where on the clarinet you basically just, for the most part, you just play kind of one tone. And then, you know, as a clarinet player, I mean, yes, things change a little bit, but it's really like you play the one tone and then your fingers kind of do all the change to make the notes happen. So it's like I just buzz that. Are there minor changes? I mean, yeah. But really, all the changes that I'm even conscious of is me singing, oh. And just for reference, the only thing I'm really focusing on besides singing is bringing my mouthpiece up, because like I said, throughout the semester I developed these weird problems with like doing all this weird stuff to set up. My goal is to literally bring the mouthpiece up, completely neutral, relaxed. It's not going to be the best every single time, but finding where I can get that. It also helps, you know, I haven't been thinking about this stuff very much, but it helps if I look down the lead pipe or at the bell so that I'm kind of directing my sound in the right direction, so I'm not having this disconnect, so to speak, of my sound's going down here, but I'm mentally and musically kind of thinking this way. Whereas if I'm here, even if my horn's a little bit lower than I would like it to be, I'm still directing it in the right place. Feeling a little off, so we're going to go back to the mouthpiece. Ah, ta 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 ta. And sometimes as little as just 10 to 15 seconds on the mouthpiece, just refining where it sits easily and it's just singing, is all you really need to get rid of some weird issues that creep up. And then if you don't take time to fix these problems in your practice, they just compound, and then it's like now these problems are always there. And I find the biggest culprit for myself and other people as well is when you're trying to play something above the staff and it's not working right, you just keep trying, or even if you take a break, you come back and just keep trying. But it's like, well, half of the problem is what do you sound like below the staff? Like, what do you sound like everywhere else right now? Because you can't really build on top of that very effectively if that's not even there and your mouthpiece buzz isn't even there. Feels a little bit like I'm using more effort than it would be to just singing it. La da da da. And you don't have to be a good singer to sing. Clearly I'm not a good singer, but I use it as much as I can because it helps me just put this away and put this away to a point where I can just kind of connect with what I'm trying to say musically without the barrier, without the physical barrier. La da. And also it helps you physically relax as well, because if you notice you're playing and you're like, you'd be like, okay, I don't sound awful, but when I go to sing it, I'm like, oh wait, I have all this extra tension in my whole body that could just be like relaxation. It's the same when you play. So if you're having weird problems, you might think it's your chops that are the problem, but half the time you can just sing something, relax your body that way and be like, oh, that's all the effort I need. Definitely a bit more effort than I'm used to, but not bad for trying to get back into like a more healthy approach. And even if it's a bit more effort, right now up there I'm kind of thinking a little bit less and a little bit more ooh, for the sake of keeping my chops from like spreading back like this. It's a problem I've had just in school, but I didn't have it in high school. And one of the things I used to think in high school up there was ooh a little bit more. So I'm not physically preparing any different. It's just vowel shape wise, instead of it's ooh. So for me, this is basically day one of trying to reset things. So maybe I couldn't cover everything that I'm going to be personally trying to accomplish during this period. So if you guys want to see me go through this kind of journey throughout the next, I don't know, few weeks, I don't know how long it's going to take me to feel comfortable with this approach, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to make a few more of these just because I'm doing it anyways, so.